Hey, what's going on guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'm gonna be doing a sock review. So I get a lot of questions about what socks I wear, which socks I prefer. And so since starting That Fit Friend about 2.5 years ago, these have been my most consistent socks that I wear on a regular basis. I have tried more premium socks. I have tried socks with more tech, and maybe I will dive more into socks as this year goes, aka into 2024. However, these are my tried and true, reliable socks that I get on Amazon. Probably like once a quarter, I'll buy 2 of these packs. And so I want to go over some pros and cons and discuss why I like these socks, because truthfully, if you're like me and you rotate training shoes, weightlifting shoes, and barefoot shoes, and you're constantly looking for no-show socks that don't stink, I feel like these are some of the best on the market, especially for the price. So let's talk about a few pros that I have with the good old Mottee Zconia No-Show Socks. All right, so 3 pros that I have with the Mottee Zconia No-Show Socks is number 1, their price point. So in my opinion, socks are something that I would rather try to save money on compared to like training shoes, training shorts. Those articles of clothing and footwear are already expensive enough. So if I can save on socks, that is a big W for me. So these socks for this pair of 6 that come on Amazon cost around like $15-ish. Plus with tax, it's like 16 or 17 when you're all said and done. But you get 6 different pairs. They have a bunch of different colorways. So I typically go with this one. It's like gray, dark gray, white, light blue, black, and then dark blue. And honestly, they are nice and neutral. They are very no frills. And so if you're trying to save money and get a good pair or get a good volume amount of socks for your money, that is where I think these socks can excel. The second reason why I like this sock is, number 1, it's a true no-show. Nothing is more frustrating than buying like a Nike no-show sock and then you have like that awkward ankle that's too thick and it comes out of the shoe. This is a true no-show sock. This is what I wear most of barefoot shoes as well, because it is very low profile. It hugs the foot really well and it sits nice and low while it doesn't slide. So with this sock, something that I appreciate is that it has like this rubber texture on the back here on the heel, so it stays in place really well. And now you might be wondering, for 15, does this break down super quick? And honestly, not really. If you're taking good care of these socks and just not like completely abusing them, they should last you multiple months. And now, is that gonna be as long as something that's like $25 sock, $30 sock? Maybe not. However, 15 for 6 pairs, if they last you multiple months, in my opinion, that's a pretty good investment, especially in the context of what they're designed to do, which is be a true no-show. And if you're wearing low profile barefoot shoes, this can be a great option, in my opinion, for hiding your sock and then still giving you that sock fit and feel. My third pro with these socks is that they breathe pretty dang well. And so I'm wearing a lot of different shoes, and a lot of those shoes don't necessarily breathe the best. And so I'm always looking for light socks that I can wear in a bunch of different contexts that aren't gonna be super hot on top of hot shoes. So with these socks, they have a good amount of breathability. They're built with an 80% mesh, 17% polyester, and 3% spandex. So they have a good amount of stretch. And then as you can see, like we have a little bit of like a lighter material on top here. So when it's on the foot, that stretches and gives you a bit more breathability as well. And honestly, I can't express this enough, but I feel like for the price and for how I like to wear my socks and how I like true no-show socks, these have been really solid, and I would highly suggest checking them out. If you've been looking for no-show socks, I'm gonna link them down below in the description. But now let's talk about a couple of cons that I do have with the Mottee Zconia no-shows. So 2 cons that I have with Mottee Zconia socks is, number 1, look, they are not gonna probably last you as long as like a $35 pair of socks. However, once again, my socks typically last me multiple months, and I honestly have pairs from like the last year, but it's interesting because not every pair is necessarily consistent. Some pairs will last a lot longer. However, I feel like if you're dropping 15 bucks for 6 socks and you get 2 of these to last you like almost like a half year to a full year, and then you just re-up and buy 6 more, you're gonna have a good amount of socks that are going to last. Like I still have socks again that have lasted a year, and then some others have ripped. However, like I abuse my socks, especially in the context of training and how often I rotate shoes and pretty much how I'm exposing these socks to different materials inside shoes. So overall, one of my knocks against these is that they're obviously not the most durable, but again, you are saving there with the volume of socks you're getting. So I feel like that can be a trade-off. The second con that I have with these socks is that they can shrink in the dryer. And so what I would suggest doing is putting them in with your more like premium training shorts and tops and whatnot. And so when you dry your socks, instead of running it on high and kind of being more aggressive with the drying cycle, run it on like a tumble and a cool, give it a little bit more time. That will prevent them from shrinking. And also, I don't even necessarily see that as always a bad thing, because when they shrink, they actually get a little bit more refined regarding how they are really hidden in certain shoes. So for example, my pairs that do shrink a little bit more, I'll wear those with my lower profile barefoot shoes like the Tolos Archetype 1.0 and so forth. So not necessarily always a con. However, if you are kind of like already pushing the envelope regarding how these fit your foot and they already feel kind of snug, that could be an issue. So just be forewarned, when you dry these, I would highly suggest running it on like a cool and like tumble dry to where it's a little bit more delicate on these socks. You're not exposing them to really high temperatures, because also with this rubber adhesive on the heel, that high temperature can also break this down. So you'll get more out of the sock's durability, in my opinion, if you just spend that little bit of extra time taking care of them in that washing and drying cycle. When it comes to the price of these socks, you can expect to pay anywhere from like $13 to $16, and then you will have tax on there, and then you might have shipping as well on Amazon. But honestly, again, I paid, I think, $16.49 for this pair of 6, and I'll buy like 1 or 2 packs every quarter. And sometimes I don't even need to do that if they're lasting me a while. So generally speaking, I would say a good estimate is I'm buying 4 to 5 packs of these a year. And that's because I also lose them a lot because I travel a lot. And then also I'm ripping them when I'm rotating shoes and I abuse them. But I think for the average person, I think you could probably get away with buying 2 pairs that should last you, or 2 packs for that matter, for a long time, for around $30-ish, which I think is incredibly fair for socks, especially in the context of what these are designed to do, and especially when you compare them to more premium socks that don't necessarily feel better, in my opinion, on the feet when training. All right, so now to the question, who should buy the Mottee Zconia socks? So number one, if you're on the market for a true no-show socks that doesn't slide off the heel, this can be an awesome option. Again, with this rubber adhesive, I find that these stay and put really well on my foot, even when breaking in a shoe that's a little bit too long and I have a bit of heel slip going on. I have to like rework the laces and kind of do a lace lock system. These don't really get pulled down, which I personally love. The second context is if you're somebody who wears barefoot shoes and you need a sock that's hidden, this can be a great option to go with. That is why I also love this sock. And then the third context is if you're trying to save money. Again, 15 bucks for a pack of 6, that is really not that bad in my opinion. So if you are a budget shopper like myself with your socks, but you want to splurge on shoes, training shorts, and other realms of life like myself as well, this is where the socks can, I think, excel for their price. Now, who shouldn't buy these socks? Number one, if you want a sock that's thicker and a little bit warmer, these are not going to be your best bet. They are pretty lightweight, they breathe really well, so I think for winter wear, they can be a little bit of a miss, especially if you're wearing very thin barefoot shoes. Like, these are not my favorite pairs to wear like with the Vivo Barefoot Primus Light 3 in the winter. The second context is if you're somebody that wants a sock with a little bit more tech to it regarding how it hugs your arches, how it wraps around the foot or gives you compression, this is not going to be your best bet. These are very standard socks, so they're not necessarily going to give you like more compression feel that some premium socks can have. However, overall, I think the Mottee Zconia socks should resonate with most people, to be quite honest, and overall they've been pretty dang solid. So when it comes to the sizing and fit in these no-show socks, you have 4 different options. You have 5 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 13, and then 12 to 14. I wear a size 10 shoe and I get the 8 to 11 pack, and these fit really well. However, I think if you have a very wide foot, and let's say you are a wide 11, you might want to go up to the 11 to 13 sock size, because again, these might shrink a little bit after you wash them a couple times, and I think that might give you a more no-show true feel. So that would be something to keep in mind. But overall, I think going true to size for how these socks are sized should be a safe bet for most athletes and lifters. All right, y'all, that wraps up my review of the good old Mottee Zconia no-show socks. Because I've had so many asks on socks, I wanted to put this video together and just explain why I like these socks and which socks I actually do wear. So overall, one of my favorite socks. They have been my tried and true model for the last 4 years, cheap on Amazon. And honestly, if you decide to grab these, let me know in the comments below how you like them. I would be shocked if they are a complete no for you. And to be quite honest, if the vast majority of y'all in the community don't like these, I will eat one of these socks on video. Well, maybe not, but figure of speech. But that being said, if you have additional questions on these socks, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, y'all, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.